You'll give me a countdown. No, you're doing fine. You'll give me a countdown. Guys, we're going to run probably like 10, 12 minutes, if that'll work.
Okay. I'm golden, man. I'm golden.
Excellent. Shannon, what's your last name, or do you have a stage name?
No, it's Shannon Book. B-O-O-K, just like it sounds.
Okay. And everybody's familiar that listens to American Warrior Radio with Soldier Hard, but I'm going to have you do a little self-introduction, okay, about your
Shannon,
bio.
Shannon, if you can, watch your microphone there on your phone. It's a little fuzzy, so try to...
It's a little, is that better?
Yeah, that's
bring
better.
myself away from the mic a little better?
That's good.
Okay.
All right. And Soldier Hard, let's hear your voice again on that phone.
Testing, mic check, 1, 2,
There you
1,
go.
2.
Okay. All right, guys.
He's done this before.
Never.
Okay, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay.
All right, stand by, ready to launch. Coming up in three. Coming up in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to another exciting edition of American Warrior Radio, the place to be for news, notes, interviews, and current events for all issues military and veteran related. If you or someone you know has ever worn the uniform of the U.S. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, or National Guard or Reserves, you've come to the right place. American Warrior Radio, right here on the Talk to Me station, AM 1300 WMEL, and online worldwide at 1300WMEL.com, brought to you by AVET Project. Folks, this program is all about supporting our troops and their families, both past and present. So please get comfortable, grab a cup of coffee, and a pen and paper, because we're always efforting to bring you information that's good information that you can use and share with others. With that said, let's roll down the runway and get this show off the ground. You all know me. I'm Garen Cohn, an Air Force veteran, retired legal advocate for veterans, and founder of AVET Project. And while I never fly through the airwaves alone, my usual co-host, Glenn McGuffey, also retired Air Force, isn't with us today, but I've got a wonderful stand-in who happens to be retired Army man, Scott Wilson of Space Coast Technologies and Services. Say hello, Scott.
Hello, American Warrior Radio listening audience.
We are set, ready to go. We got a great show for you all today, and we're so happy you visited AM 1300 WMEL, and honestly, now is the time to pick up the phone and call all your friends, neighbors, co-workers, fellow churchgoers, whoever. Tell them to dial us up right here on the Space Coast at 1300 WMEL, or if you're listening somewhere else in the United States, and a lot of you are, we hear from you, go to 1300WMEL.com and listen up, because this is going to be a great episode. With that said, let's get right into the meat of it. We've got a couple gentlemen on the line, one that you're all very familiar with because he does all the bumper music for American Warrior Radio, Sergeant Jeff Barillero, otherwise known as Soldier Hard. Say hello, Jeff.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thank you for having me, and thank you for having me again, Garen.
Oh, it's always a pleasure, and like I said, you have been a part of American Warrior Radio from the beginning, and we so appreciate that. And you're the founder of the record label Redcon One. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, Redcon One Music Group. We've been around for about a little over 2 years now, and we got a lot of military artists on the label. We got some active duty artists on the label, and also, civilian supporters that's on our label too. And what we do is that we just create that good music therapy, because a lot of us on the label, music is not only our passion, but it's also our therapy. You know what I'm saying? It's like speaking for myself and Shannon Book, I know firsthand that music has pretty much saved our lives. And that's pretty much what we do is we create music and, in hopes that it helps our warfighter community out there.
Outstanding. Well, since you brought him up, let's bring him right into the interview. Everybody say hello to Shannon Book. Are you out there, Shannon?
I am, Garrett. How are you?
Doing great. Happy New Year to you, brother, and thank you so much for joining us. Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Well, it's our pleasure for sure. Now, Soldier Heart and a lot of the other artists like Panda and so on and so forth do a specific genre of music that, it's military hip hop. You're a little different on the label. What is it? What kind of music do you put out there for the folks?
Well, I was brought on board to be the first rock artist for Redcon 1. But I write all kinds of stuff. I've even written a few country tunes. I do some of as they call the hooks for a couple of their songs. So I do all kinds of stuff. I like being a part of the group.
Well, educate us a little bit, because I know there's a whole different language for the music business. You just mentioned the word hook. What exactly is that?
Well, in the music industry, and it varies for genre as well. Basically the hook of a song is what keeps coming back around and keeping the individuals that listen to this song attached to it. It's kind of like a fish hook. You put a fish hook out in the water, it's got bait on it, the fish comes up, grabs the bait, the fish hook hooks the fish, now the fish is on the end of the line. So it's kind of the same principle with music.
Good analogy. That's an excellent explanation. Well, we have you two gentlemen on, and we can't have you on often enough because, Soldier Heart, you know this. You know how meaningful your music is, not just to me and our listeners, but to folks that have never been exposed to your genre, your brand of music, which is predominantly centered around soldiering and patriotism. And Scott, you met Soldier Heart.
Yeah, I just wanted to say hello to you, Soldier Heart. I got to meet you when you were in town a couple of weeks ago.
How you doing?
Pretty good. How you doing? It was a fun time around that swimming pool, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good to hear from you.
Good to hear from you. You guys are doing a great deal of work and a great thing for PTSD awareness. Really appreciate it from somebody who's had PTSD for many years. The more awareness we can have for the community, the better it is for all of us. And maybe it's something that can bring a little bit more light into it and can get a little bit more information out there, can make all of the things that, not just the words or the letters, there are 4 little letters, but there's so many things that go along with it. Everything from those weird nightmares to the high incidence of unfortunate suicides, or the alcoholism, or the high rate of divorce. I mean, we can go on and on about all of the different things that go with it, to include depression. And with this awareness, there's just so much that you gentlemen are doing to bring it out there. And unfortunately, there's so many people in the military community and also out there with all of these other acts of violence that are going around in the world and also in our local communities that are getting so many more people into PTSD. That, I mean, if you guys can speak a little bit more to this, it would really be appreciated. I mean, take the floor, please.
Well, I mean, like all you said, it was absolutely true. I mean, there's especially like a lot of things that has to do with that four little letters. It's pretty, and it's like what we do is trying to do our part. We're trying to do our part. I mean, we only could do so much, but that we're doing it in hopes that it could spark a flame in other people to go out there also and spread that awareness. You know what I'm saying? So the more that we stay on it, the more songs we touch on it, the more events that we do that has to do with PTSD awareness, maybe, we might get a couple more people who wants to get involved in also spreading that awareness. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a domino effect is what we're hoping for.
Yeah, and folks are going to become more and more familiar with you and this genre and, of course, the record label because of your appearances out there.
Right. Well, and honestly, that's the goal. I mean, nothing in America, nothing anywhere is really done without an education about the subject. I think education is priority for anything that one has to deal with. I mean, if you don't know anything about whatever you're doing, then why are you attempting to do it anyway? So, talking about PTSD, you talk about, it's 4 little letters, and there's there's a couple of other ones that have, people have to deal with. Like, there's another 3-letter word, that people deal with, TBI.
That's the traumatic brain injury. Sure.
Traumatic brain injury, right.
Absolutely. I apologize for getting that one.
No, please don't apologize. I mean, again, we're here to educate the world, and these things cause issues for people, out there trying to come home and assimilate back into what everybody considers the real world.
Exactly. Coming back from a combat zone or a long deployment and reintegrating back into civilian life is a challenge for anybody, whether they have the signs and symptoms of PTSD or TBI or not. But the event that you guys are going to be involved with, this Lance Corporal Janice Lutz ride in Davie, Florida, give me some quick specifics on that.
Oh, yeah, that's an event that we're going to be doing, it's PTSD, Suicide Awareness event, and it's just the first annual Lance Corporal Janice Lutz ride. He was a Marine, an outstanding Marine from what I heard, and he took his life, he showed red flags, and he just didn't want to live anymore, and he took his own life last year. So it's and January 12th is the anniversary date of his passing, and we're going to do a celebration for him, and to spread that PTSD awareness.
Outstanding. And I know the particular song we've been referring to here, Red Flags, is one that you penned, and it is a remarkable song, and it really will change a person's, it'll give them a different option, a different outlook for those that aren't fully aware of how prevalent this suicide is. Something like 23 of our veterans every day are taking their own lives. And as my co-host Glenn McGuffey always says, suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. You two agree with that?
Oh, definitely. That's actually a good way of putting it. It's the first time I heard it put like that, and I like it. I might have to borrow that.
You feel free.
He's gonna put it in rap. I mean, he's gonna put it in rhyme. I'm telling you.
Hey, bring it on, because I know everything that you touch turns to gold, my friend, and it does. And you guys, you're going to be out here on January 12th. Where at, and who all's going to be with you?
Oh yeah, the ride is going to start at in Davie at the Western High School. It starts at 9 a.m. and then upon completion of that, it's going to end about, I would say, about a couple hours after. It's about a 20-mile ride from what I believe, and then we're going to be performing right after that. Myself, Shannon Book will be there, and also Panda. We'll be out there performing and spreading that awareness and supporting this honorable occasion.
Outstanding. Well, guys, honestly, I wish we had more time, and we'll bring you back on, maybe even to give us an update as to how the event went and what kind of participation we had there. Quickly, how can they find out more? If they're local and they want to participate, or maybe they want to find out more about Redcon 1, give me some digits, give me some website.
Yeah, so they can go to redcon1musicgroup.org or search us on Facebook. We have our Facebook page. We update it all the time. But they can check us out on Facebook and also on our website, www.redcon1musicgroup.com.
Outstanding. Outstanding. And excellent. And Shannon, they can find your information there as well.
Absolutely.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
Well, guys, I hate to cut this short, and like I said, we'll have you back on soon. Everybody, get down to Davie, Florida, and catch this event on the 12th of January, starting at 9 a.m. You'll get to meet and greet Redcon 1 artists, including the Chief Poopah, okay?
Remember, that's tomorrow.
That's right.
Tomorrow morning.
Get there and dial up Redcon 1. Just Google it, if anything else. We've been talking with Sergeant Jeff Barlero, otherwise known as Soldier Heart, and Shannon Book, both of Redcon 1. Thank you, gentlemen, so much. Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Best wishes for the event.
Thank you.
You bet, brother.
Thanks, guys. Thanks
See you
for
guys
having
soon.
me, man.
Thank
Talk to you soon. Thanks, guys. All right. Bye-bye. And there you have it. Just it's American Warrior Radio, bringing you the goods right now. And you want to dial that up. We've got another extraordinary gentleman that we want to get into an interview with. So hang with us here on American Warrior Radio. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
All right, you're out.
And has McCrander called in yet?
Negative.
Okay, he'll call in. Timeliness was really screwy on that.
So they were calling in from different phones?
He's only got 2 lines that we can take. They were on different lines.
Oh, okay.
So,
Now, are they both in South Florida now, or?
No, they're in California.
Oh.
But that's over. Now we move to the next one. Okay. So he
I
should
just
be
wanted
calling.
to push relevance on that one. I'm sorry.
Huh?
I would just want to push relevance and say, yeah, tomorrow.
Oh,
Tomorrow
good.
morning.
No,
It was like-
that was perfect, Scott.
I just
You're
looked down
doing
and said,
great.
oh shit, that's tomorrow.
God damn it.
Need some wrenches. Okay. Now, we're just going to go through this stuff with...
Yeah, I'm going to do the intro. You,
Now, did he do any of the stuff with the...
hold on.
Okay, you gotta call him and say, hey.
Gotta make sure that they're calling in. Hi, Dee. It's Garen again with American Warrior Radio. I see him calling in right now. We've got a connection. We're good to go. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Did he write this book?
No.
Okay, did he do
He
anything?
just did the helicopter rescue.
No, what I'm saying, that's what I was wondering. Was he, did
Yeah, he can hear you now.
anything with those?
Hi, Colonel. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Yeah,
Yeah, you're coming through loud and clear. Sounds great. Did you have a chance to look over those talking points?
I did.
Okay, very good. Again, it's just a conversation between you, me, and my guest co-host, Scott Wilson, retired Army. Glenn is out sick today. As you saw, we're going to be pretending this is live. So when I refer to, you went to the signing and the Q&A last night, Friday night, you'll understand. I'm not trying to trip you up here. And just before we get rolling, did you get a chance to look over those dates and times for the Q&A and the signing?
Were there dates and times in there?
Well, we had, Kim had sent them to you, I think, as a follow-up. The movie runs 121 minutes.
Okay.
And on Friday, the first appearance will be you arriving at the rave in Vieira by about 6:45. Okay? We can.
Rave on Friday and not Satellite on Friday?
Well, no, we'd love to have you at both places. It's just timeliness-wise. Satellite Beach Cinemas, because of when they start the movie, that on Friday the movie starts at 18:50.
Right.
So we wanted you to be there by like 8:15. Would that work? And listen, we don't have to nail this down right now. I'll just refer to it. But let's look at Saturday, because I know with the UTA and everything, we don't want to monopolize all your time.
Yeah, well, so what time on Saturday then were you looking at?
Saturday at 1800, Satellite Beach Cinemas.
At the rave, right?
No, at Satellite Beach Cinemas at 6 on Saturday.
Okay.
We'll deal with Friday after we get off here. But this way, because this is going to air at 11 a.m. Saturday, so we can tell the folks to be there at Satellite Beach Cinemas by 6 p.m. And it'll be just, a few minutes of your time, or however much time you want to spend there. And then the rave at 6:45.
Remember, it's not called the Rave anymore.
Right, it's Carmikey.
Yes.
Carmike Cinemas.
Carmike, yeah.
Okay. Will that work for you, sir?
Okay, so Carmike on
Saturday,
at 18:45.
Was it-
right?
Okay,
And then Satellite at 1800.
so we're going to be able to get from Satellite over to Carmike?
Yeah, because we've padded it enough to where you're going to be arriving in time before the movie's even over. And then we'll have everything set up to where you can just hop in there, meet and greet, sign some autographs and stuff.
Okay,
Sound like a plan?
okay.
Okay, cool. And I didn't want to go into the politics because I know I don't want to step on anybody's toes, but all this talk about CSAR being eliminated, is that a topic that we can go into, or should we avoid that?
When you start talking politics, everything is on the table. There's not a mission that the Air Force isn't looking at, maybe doing away with, and so it can kind of be a little bit broad, and I'm not certainly the expert to talk about it. I don't think, there's petitions in Congress going around to tell the Air Force not to get rid of the mission, just like there's petitions going around Congress to not get rid of A-10s. But, it's certainly decisions that are way above our pay grade. And honestly, with politics, we're the only mission that is trained to do what we do. I really hold no water that they're going to do away with CSAR. So.
Okay. But for a knucklehead like me to bring up the issue and talk about it and tell the listeners, hey, you need to make some noise, and tell your representatives and your congressmen to make sure and preserve CSAR, because without CSAR, we don't have lone survivor. You know what I'm saying? Without you guys and gals, what we're talking about, or what we're going to lead into, doesn't even happen.
Right.
Okay, very good, very good. Okay, are you ready to rock and roll then?
I'm as ready as I'm going to be.
Okay, like I said, it's just a conversation between you, me, Scott, and 10, 12,000 of our close friends.
And, Commander, you've met me several times before doing different picnics and everything else.
Right.
So,
okay.
John, are we ready? And we can run, John, I'm communicating with John Harper, a Vietnam vet, owns the station, provides all the airtime for American Warrior Radio and the Runway Report.
That's pretty awesome.
Yes, it is. Thank you, John. And John, we'll be able to filter in the lead-in. Guys. We'll be able to overlay the lead-in for the Runway Report, the music.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I can basically just do a welcome back.
Right.
Shall I lay out a pause?
Yeah.
Okay, and last time it was 13 seconds. I think I need to go 20. So, Colonel, if you hear a long pause, you'll hear me talking, and there'll be a long pause. That's because we're inserting the Runway Report bumper music.
Okay.
Okay. So whenever you're ready, John, you'll keep me updated on the time? Excellent. And we'll be going back and forth, Colonel, just Scott asking you questions. Conversation.
That's fine.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Coming up in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to American Warrior Radio, right here on the Talk to Me station, AM 1300 WMEL, and online worldwide at 1300WMEL.com. And I mention that because it's important. If you know somebody in the continental United States or in Afghanistan or Korea, wherever they might be, they need to dial it up right now online if they're outside our terrestrial signal, because we've got an exciting guest coming up right now on the 920th Rescue Wings Runway Report. Let's get started, Scott.
Okay.
That, of course, is our lead-in bumper music to the Runway Report. And, folks, we are so pleased to have with us today, and let me tell you, it's a special honor for us, Colonel Jeff McCrander, the commander of your 920th Rescue Wing. Sir, can you hear us?
I can hear you just great.
Outstanding. Thank you so much for taking a portion of your time here today. And I know it's a busy day here on Saturday because it's a what you guys call a UTA weekend. First of all, explain what that is. What is going on out there?
Well, we're a reserve organization made up of about 1,800 reservists here at Patrick and across the nation. And so we do, as reservists, we do that 1 weekend a month, and our 2 weeks a year is our mandatory training on top of all our regular deployments. So it's UTA stands for Unit Training Assembly, and that's when we bring in all our reservists to do our training and make sure that we're combat mission ready.
Well, wonderful, and we'll get to the heart of the matter that I want to address, but we're just really pleased because on past episodes of American Warrior Radio with our Runway Report, we've had other guests from the 920th, but before we get into the details, can you give our listeners a little biographical thumbnail sketch of, where were you born, where were you raised, that kind of thing?
Well, my dad was in the Air Force. In fact, he's a retired Air Force chaplain. And so I grew up moving around quite a bit all over the country and overseas, in fact. So I can't really say that I was raised any particular place. I guess I was raised by the Air Force. It's kind of where that's how I grew up. So, but I was born in Pennsylvania, and like I said, we've lived all over the country and even overseas as I was growing up. But I do claim Florida as home. I graduated from Fort Walton Beach High School up in the Panhandle, and then I went to University of Florida for 4 years, and
well, back up a second.
There too.
Back up a second. At high school, were you involved in the ROTC or anything at the high school?
I was. I did 4 years in junior ROTC when I was in high school. Actually commanded the detachment up at Fort Walton Beach High School when I graduated.
So you can basically say you're a native Floridian. You've been here and associated with Florida for a long time.
Well, I don't know about native, Garen. Those of us who were born here.
Okay, well...
I would call myself adopted, not native.
Okay, I'll accept that one from a native.
Excellent. Hey, I gotta ask you a question because I know, having gotten to know you, and you are I'm your co-commander with the Military Affairs Council of the MAC, of the Cocoa Beach Area Chamber. Gotten to know you quite a bit over the years here as AVET Project supports you and your squadron in various ways. But you've been interested in flying from the get-go. What sparked your first interest in flying? Was it because of your, being a military brat with your dad being in the Air Force?
Well, I think there's a lot to be said about that. Growing up in the Air Force and having some interest in flying. I think it was, when I was younger, I did a lot of reading, of course, growing up around the Vietnam War era and hearing about the exploits of the Vietnam era Jolly Greens and all the rescues that those guys were doing with helicopters during the Vietnam War and just the numbers of helicopters that were flying in that war. Really kind of piqued my interest into not just flying, but specifically being a helicopter pilot.
Interesting. Now, you said that at the University of Florida you did a degree in poli-sci. Did you ever entertain law school? And did you do an ROTC while you were in college? I know you said that you were the commander of your JROTC in high school.
Right. Well, I did get a 4-year ROTC scholarship, and so I did ROTC in college as well. No, I've never really entertained, being a lawyer or anything like that. I mean, my life goal was to be a combat rescue helicopter guy, and I
wow.
am.
Congratulations.
Stayed true to your goals, that's for sure, sir. So how long did you serve on active? You went through ROTC in college and got your commission, I take it.
That's correct. Yeah, of course, then I got my commission and went on active duty, and that's when I left Florida. And I didn't come back to Florida until 2005, I believe, is when I finally got back to Florida. So between 1985, when I graduated college, and 2005, I was kind of a transplant Floridian, I guess. I was a Florida resident, so I had a Florida driver's license, but didn't really live here. So, went to flight school. Flew the TH-55 and a UH-1 in flight school. Did a stint as a UH-1N twin-engine Huey pilot out at what was then called Indian Springs Auxiliary Field out in the Nevada desert, doing lots of interesting things out there in the middle of the desert. And from there, I went overseas, spent 5 years flying helicopters in Korea. I initially flew H-3 helicopters in Korea, and the unit transitioned to the HH-60 while I was there, and they wanted an initial cadre of people that were familiar with the Korean theater, and so they offered me a transition slot. So I flew H-3s for like 2.5 years in Korea, went through the schoolhouse, and then came back to Korea and flew another 2.5 years in Korea. From the Korea, I went to the where the Air Force does its helicopter training out at Kirtland Air Force Base in New Mexico. That's where my daughter was born, was while I was stationed there. But it was after my tour there that I got off active duty, got hired up into the reserve. I've served in all 3 of the reserve units that we have right now that have helicopters or rescue folks. The first unit I was in was out at Davis-Monthan in Arizona. Then I went
Beautiful
up to
Tucson.
in Tucson, Arizona. That's correct. And then I went up to Portland, Oregon, where we actually had helicopters and 130s there, plus our PJs or our Guardian Angel folks up there. And then I moved back to Tucson, and then they offered me a job here as the ops group commander here at Patrick, and I moved out here where I made colonel. Did a short headquarters tour for 2 years in between my ops group command, and now I've been back here as the wing commander for 2 years.
Well, I want to back up a moment. So while you were on active duty, how long did you serve on active